Rising border arrests, immigration authorities say that they have already detained 78,000 people trying to cross the southern border in January alone. That is up 6% from December, the largest number for January in more than a decade. The Biden administration announced the opening of 2 temporary care facilities in Texas to house unaccompanied migrant children under the age of 13. Joining me right now is former Acting Customs and Border Protection Commissioner and Heritage Foundation visiting fellow, Mark Morgan. Mark, it's great to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Maria.
To what do you attribute this increase in border crossings?
Look, there's 2 major factors. One is really driven by the Biden administration's clear open border policies. Look, Maria, you know, you've been to the border. What drives the overwhelming majority of illegal migration is economics. They're looking for better economic conditions. Because of COVID, we've seen worsening economic conditions in the Western Hemisphere. So since April of last year, we saw a steady increase. But what happened leading up to the election and since the election is a significant skyrocket of the numbers of illegal immigration, simply due to Biden's promise that he's going to open the border and allow people in, reinstate, catch and release, and allow people eventually to gain access to citizenship. That's what is driving the skyrocketed numbers right now. Like you said, January, highest numbers in over a decade.
Well, it makes sense if people feel like there's an opening, a new policy. They're going to try to make the case right then, right? I mean, you've got lots of headlines about this new administration's policies and a reversal to what was happening in your administration and the President Trump's administration. Let me ask you about these new facilities to house people, young people in Texas. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so 2 things are going on. Both HHS is opening up a new facility to house the UACs, the unaccompanied minors, and then CBP is also opening up a temporary facility, which we've seen in the past. Now, look, the planning for the temporary facilities from CBP, that actually began when I was still acting commissioner. And why did we have to do that? Because we saw what was happening. We saw the rhetoric from the Biden campaign, and then after the election, we knew what was going to happen. We saw the numbers starting to increase, and we knew as soon as the election happened and Biden won, we knew what was going to happen, that the numbers were going to skyrocket, and the facilities that we currently have were going to be overwhelmed, especially because of restriction of COVID. And Maria, this isn't complicated. If you send out the signal, as you said, that our borders are open, and he clearly has eroded every effective tool and policy that was in place under the Trump administration to deal with the illegal immigration crisis, of course the numbers are going to go up, and that's what we're seeing right now. And that's why I say the crisis, it's already begun.
Yeah, and that is why the state of Texas is suing the Biden administration to stop the deportation freeze. Reforming ICE is another issue the Biden administration has taken on, issuing new guidelines to immigrations and customs enforcement agencies, calling on them to shift their focus. Instead of pursuing those arrested for driving under the influence or committing assault, the priority is becoming national security threats, recent border crossers, and those with aggravated felony convictions. Former senior policy advisor to President Trump, Stephen Miller, was here on this program yesterday and discussed the danger of these new policies. Listen to what he said. I want to get your reaction.
Under our administration, we deported 20,000 gang members. Virtually all of them, under these rules, would have been allowed to stay in the country. Under the new system that they've just put into place, you can't deport someone for overstaying a visa. You can't deport somebody for most financial crimes. You can't deport somebody for most fraud. You can't deport somebody for most crimes of battery, for most crimes of drug possession, for most crimes of reckless endangerment, and the list goes on and on. The vast majority, the overwhelming majority of criminal aliens are now going to be set free back into our communities. And so the next phase of these lawsuits has to be to enjoin this guidance, which will be the largest jailbreak in American history.
Well, this is pretty extraordinary, Mark. What do you think the thinking is? Your reaction to what Stephen Miller said, and why would the Biden administration not agree with those comments?
Stephen Miller is 100% correct. Look, this is not a shift in focus. This is a clear message of how they believe illegal immigrants should be treated. Look, at the end of the day, what this new policy is unless you're a known or suspected terrorist or a murderer or rapist, you're going to be allowed to stay in. It goes even further. I'll add a little bit to what Stephen said. You could be a known gang member and have been arrested for and charged for rape or murder, and under these guidelines, you will not be removed because you have been convicted. I mean, this is absurd. And every single city in this country has become less safe because of this policy within a few weeks of this administration. Everybody should be outraged. This is absolutely absurd.
Wow. All right. We'll be watching it, Mark. Great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
You bet. Thanks, Maria.
All right. Mark Morgan joining us.
Thanks for watching the Heritage Foundation's YouTube channel. With more than 500,000 members, we are the nation's largest conservative research and education institution. We believe the principles and ideas of the American founding are worth conserving and renewing. Please help us further our mission by subscribing to this channel and sharing our videos with your family and friends.